Today we have the all-new 2019 Toyota Corolla Hatchback. This is not just any Corolla IM like you've seen before. This thing is completely different with new powertrain, new underpinnings. Can't wait to show it to you. Big thanks to Toyota for providing it for you guys to review today. Let's get started. Let's get started taking a look at the exterior. So right away you can get the SE trim or the XSE, which is what we have right here. The SE will start at about $20,000 and this one comes in right under $24,000. Compared to the old Corolla IM, this is lower, it's wider, it's longer. Can't wait to show you guys the outside of this vehicle. And one thing with the differences here, on the grille, you'll get a dark gray surround on the SE trim or a chrome surround on the XSE. The headlights are LED on every single model, LED daytime running lights that are pretty neat underneath of them. These headlights also do a really good job at night. I really like them, and you can even get an adaptive front lighting system, optional, to follow your wheels and move left to right as you move the car. And then this color is called Blue Flame, and let me tell you, this thing is extremely vibrant, especially on a cloudy, overcast day like this. All the gray and silver cars just blend in, while this blue Corolla really stands out. Wheels are going to range from 16 on the SE to 18 on the XSE with 205 or 225 width tires. The brakes in the front are ventilated disc and then solid disc in the back. The mirrors are all color and heated with integrated turn signals no matter what trim level you get. If you're wondering about the length of this Corolla Hatch is 172 inches. The Corolla Sedan is 183 inches, and then the Civic Hatch is 178. So this is definitely on the smaller end. And we have an independent suspension with this new Toyota global architecture. Toyota wanted an athletic presence when they go to the back of the vehicle. You get a spoiler up on top, LED taillights on every single trim, and then you'll notice one of the trends nowadays is fake exhaust tips. You know, they're not even exhaust, it's just fake. It's just a kind of a diffuser look. But as you've probably noticed with most Toyota products nowadays, their Toyota Safety Sense has become standard across pretty much everything, and that includes a lot of safety features. But with the driver assist package on here, we've got TSS 2.0, which is the second generation of Toyota Safety Sense, and all of those features will include standard on this vehicle, the pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, with cyclist detection and improved low light capabilities, lane departure alert with steering assist, road edge detection, automatic high beams, road sign assist, and full speed dynamic radar cruise control with the CVT, or regular dynamic radar cruise control that's not full speed on the manual that we have right here. Blind spot monitoring is optional on the SE and standard on the XSE trim here. Taking a look at the cargo area, the opener for the hatch is right back there. You can lift a little bit and then it will go up on its own. And behind the back seat is 17.8 cubic feet. Once you fold those down, you'll get 23.3. That's just a carry-on suitcase right there. It's a nice flat floor. There is a storage bin right over here and on the other side. Plus, you can have an extra cover back here as well. And this does automatically go down. You can remove it, which is nice. We have a handle up here and a handle on the other side. Let's get this thing out of the way. And good news is that we actually have a compact spare tire. A lot of manufacturers are getting rid of that, so it's good to see that in your jack kit back here. Let's go ahead and fold those seats down. In order to fold the seats down, I've kind of got it started already, but it's a couple steps. You lift the headrest, fold it down, and then you pull on this, and there you go. And that's what will give you your 23.3 cubic feet. Really nice flat load floor, which is good to see as well. But I would like to see this be a little bit bigger and more competitive with some of the other hatches in the class. One cool thing about the Corolla is that the smart key system is standard, which will give you push button start, just your basic key fob, similar to all the other Toyota key fobs nowadays. It does seem to be high quality and maybe durable. No soft touch materials or anything like that. Can't open up the hatch either, but let me show you how this works. And I'm a fan of Toyota's smart key system because in order to lock it, all you got to do is touch the lines on the door. You don't even have to be precise. You can just smack your hand on it if you want. And to unlock it, just stick your hand back there and you're good to go. But there's no remote start. Just like most Toyotas nowadays, it's a bummer. Now the front seats of this 2019 Corolla Hatchback are pretty comfortable. They're actually more supple and softer and better supporting than the previous model, which is good because previously on the old model they were almost like hunchback seats. They really kind of curved up at the top, pushed your head forward, and these are better. There's still a little bit of that same shape, but these seats are pretty comfortable. Toyota calls them sport seats. The SE trim will give you 6-way fabric manual seats, but this XSE that we have right here will give us leather trim seats with a fabric insert, and they have pretty good bolstering. And at 5'9", I honestly feel maybe a little bit crowded in here with my legs, but that's compared to some of the other bigger vehicles I've been in. I don't really have any problems in here. With the seat about midway in its track, I can still put my fist above my head just barely, so there's quite a bit of room right there. And these do include lumbar support, being 8-way power. I do like the bolsters on them. The fabric insert I don't even notice it really. All I feel is the leather around my legs and the bolstering around them. And overall, these seats are pretty darn comfortable, but the passenger seat is only 4-way manual. Then for the steering wheel, it is tilt and telescoping. The lever's down there. This is our range of motion in and out and up and down. So pretty good range of motion to get comfortable. Now starting on the interior of the Corolla, we've got this nice big white upper part, and that's actually soft touch. This armrest is soft touch with some stitching running across. Nice touches from Toyota. Then you have piano black mixed in with some accent pieces. Those are all automatic windows. All 4 of them are automatic up down, which is pretty cool. Pretty decent sized bottle holder down here and a storage bin as well. My super tall bottle doesn't fit, but just about everything else will fit in there. Pretty good solid door slam, especially for the class. But as we move across the dash, this is much different than what you would expect in, 5 years ago from Toyota. As you can see, the tablet style screen that we've been seeing, different than what the Camry has. The Avalon has something similar. The new RAV4 has something almost exactly like it. But look at the materials in here. You've got some more stitching, soft touch up there on the dash as well. This is pretty nice. This is definitely a pretty nice interior. Let's go ahead and start it up. Push button start. This is a very familiar steering wheel from Toyota. There's a little bit of grips up here. You've got leather wrapped steering wheels on both trims, and then you'll even get paddle shifters with your CVT. But of course we don't have the CVT, so that doesn't matter. We've got controls for our radio on each side. Volume, voice controls, controls for our big screen up there. All the cruise control buttons over here, lane departure, radar cruise, and even the mode button for our stereo. So a lot that you can control with that. Let's take a look up at our information display. The information display will vary from a 4.2 to a 7-inch screen, and we have the 7-inch screen right here. 4.2 will be on the other Toyotas on the SE model. I'm going to quickly scroll through everything that you can see here using your steering wheel. I like this display. It's pretty easy to see and read your driver assist features, your radio, just basic trip computer stuff, your safety settings as well. You can turn those things off if you want to as well, which is nice. And then any warning messages that you might get. You've got an actual tachometer there, which is good to see. I like this layout from Toyota. Right over to the left of the steering wheel, we have our automatic high beams button and then interior lighting. And then look at all those blank switches. I'd rather just those not be there. Moving over to our screen, we get an 8-inch screen standard, no matter what trim level you get. Even on the SE, that'll give you standard Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, Amazon Alexa, and a 6-speaker system. The XSE is going to add Entune Audio Plus, which is what we have right here, Sirius XM, and the Scout GPS link, which is a disaster. I hit maps and it automatically defaulted to my iPhone. But the Scout GPS link is really garbage. You can get dynamic integrated navigation with the Entune 3.0 premium system and a JBL 8-speaker system, which is optional. That's not standard, so something you could opt for. But there's a lot of piano black around here as well, something to note. But I really love how we have physical buttons. You've got a volume knob, a tuning knob. It's always good to see. There's quite a bit that you can see on here. You've got the Entune apps as well. If you guys haven't seen Apple CarPlay on this screen, it looks and works just as everything else does. And you can, of course, still use Google Maps and even Waze if you have it downloaded and upgraded. Then you can go back to your regular Toyota system there. Couple big vents right here. We have dual zone climate control in this trim. Otherwise, you'll have single zone on the SE. You've got all these physical buttons down here, so everything is easy to use. You can have it on automatic, as you can with any other control. You and your passenger can sync it up, so that's really nice as well. more stitching down below. And then down here, our XSE trim gives us heated seats. The SE does not have heated seats. That's a two position switch for you and your passenger. This back here can be optional wireless charging. Otherwise, it's just a small little hidden area for storage. I wish there was a little bit more for storage back there. And oddly enough, USB port for Apple CarPlay is right over there. There's an auxiliary port as well. So kind of a funky little place, but the materials even continue down here. And here's our intelligent manual transmission. This does have rev matching as well. So it's an easier to use transmission than most transmissions, so Toyota says, and you can turn that off or turn that on if you want to. This is our 6-speed shifter right here. You've got the ring underneath, so it's pretty easy to use. It's, you know, nothing real short with the throws. The clutch does not have a whole lot of feel to it, honestly. There's not a lot of feedback to it, but it's still an easy car to drive, that's for sure, especially for a manual. Electronic parking brake and the brake hold button right here, actually. And then with the CVT, you'll actually get a sport mode button or normal mode button as well, but we don't have that since we control that with our transmission anyways. Now we have two cup holders back here. This one here is deeper than the one in front. That one's a little bit more shallow, but my big bottle fits, and most of the time you wouldn't have something this tall. And it gets a little bit in the way with this transmission, but with something smaller, it really doesn't matter at all. We have a soft armrest, and this is actually a little bit wider than you would expect and wider than previous, the Corolla IM. You've got a 12-volt power outlet and fast charging USB port right there. There's no lights in here, but it's a decent size center console for a car of this size and of this class. And under here, no lock-in glove box, but a glove box is available. No automatic dimming rearview mirror, just your basic flip the switch rearview mirror, no garage controls either. We've got a vanity mirror and a light up above. And the whole visor does not slide, but this little trim piece will slide out. No LED lights in here, just your basic lights, and that's not how you turn the light on. This is how you turn the light on. And a little SOS with all Toyotas nowadays if you ever have an emergency. Overall, a really nice, sleek interior from Toyota. Taking a look out the back, you've got the big pillar for the hatchback. We have blind spot monitoring in here, which helps. Pretty big back windows. Then that rear window is just fine. It's actually fairly low, so visibility out of this car is not that bad. Overall, a pretty nice interior from Toyota. Obviously, you can tell by looking at this hatchback from the outside that it's really not very big, and it's quite short in terms of its length. But the backseat passengers do still get a pretty decent amount of legroom. Sitting behind myself, 5'9" with my seat position where I would normally sit, I do still have a little bit of room for my knees. There's even a little seat back pocket here. And sitting up straight and tall, I can barely feel my head touching. This is pretty cut out back here for your backseat passengers, which is great. On the door, this surface is hard touch up top, the white stuff. And then we have a soft armrest, a bottle holder, and a good door handle. Let me try to scoot over here. And if I can get my feet, I can't even get my feet there, but I've got this seat, the passenger seat, all the way back, and there's no way that me at 5'9" is gonna fit back there, but there is a little bit of room, so you could get some children back here pretty comfortably. There's no AC vents though. We have a little storage bin and seat back pockets. There's a center folding armrest with some cushion and a couple cup holders, so that's nice, in addition to grab handles and hooks on each side. And one more thing about the back seat is that it does not recline backwards or move forward or backwards. For the 2019 Corolla Hatchback powertrain, there's only one engine option, two transmission options. You can actually get a manual on both the SE and the XSE trim, which is pretty cool. Otherwise, you'll get a CVT that actually has a real first gear to improve acceleration off the line and give it a better feel. It's supposed to kind of simulate a 10 speed, but of course it's still going to be a CVT. And then it's a 6-speed manual with intelligent rev matching on top of that. But this engine right here, the one engine we get is a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine with Toyota's D4S technology, so you've got direct and port injection. And that engine is gonna push out 168 horsepower, 155 pound-feet of torque at 4,800 RPMs. Miles per gallon on the SE with the CVT is 32 city, 42 highway. The XSE is gonna drop that down to 30 city, 38 highway. And then both trims with the manual transmission will get 28 city, 37 miles per gallon highway. And one thing to note is that with this 2-liter, it's lighter, it's more powerful, and more efficient than the 1.8 liter in other Corollas. So something to keep in mind. Toyota is very proud of this engine, and we're gonna see how it performs. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in for the test drive for the 2019 Toyota Corolla. So the big difference with this Corolla compared to previously is the 2-liter engine compared to the 1.8. There's more power, it's lighter, it's more efficient. With the manual, I haven't driven it a whole lot. It's rated at 37 on the highway, 28 in the city, and I've actually been getting around 33 to 34 most of the time, which is pretty good. I've done a lot of idling lately, which brought it down, but that's pretty good. And as a daily driver, this thing would be excellent, I think. I mean, it's small, perfect city driver, easy to get around and maneuver. The steering has a pretty decent feel for it for a Corolla. I mean, this thing is not totally dead. It gives you a little bit of feedback, and I think the platform that this is on, the TNGA, makes a big difference with the suspension and the steering and just the overall feel. So the transmission here, we have the manual. The CVT actually has a simulated first gear. The manual is 6-speed, and it's got the intelligence with it and rev matching. And in my experience so far, just a little downshift there, it seems to be pretty smooth. It's got, you know, not super short throws, not long throws either, but about what you would expect. You've got a little bit of power down low. I'm not really used to driving this thing yet, but the clutch kind of has not a whole lot of feedback to it. It's pretty light. There's not really a significant bite point or anything, but it's definitely an easy to drive manual. And now we're on a bit of a rougher textured road, and you can really hear some of that road noise coming in. It's definitely unpleasant. I'm sure you guys can hear that coming through. On other roads, it seems to be pretty quiet. I mean, I haven't had any rattles at all. I haven't noticed a whole lot of wind noise, but the road noise is definitely pronounced, and you can tell on a rougher textured road here how it's just really coming through the bottom of the vehicle. But Toyota did say that the new 2-liter engine is supposed to improve the noise, vibration, and harshness by being quieter. It's also a lighter engine, so that can make a difference. The overall ride comfort in here is quite good. We've got bigger wheels at 18 inches, so it's a little hard to judge compared to the SE that's going to have 16, but it seems pretty comfortable. Nothing's really been obtrusive in here and upsetting in this little cabin, so I'm definitely happy with that. And the handling on this Corolla is better than you would expect. You can hug some corners pretty well. Like I said a little earlier, the steering has a decent feel to it, nothing crazy. And if you really want, you can have the lane keep assist on or the steering assist, and it'll keep you centered in your lane pretty well. And I've had no problems with that at all. And the interesting thing is that you still get radar cruise control with our manual transmission. Acceleration in the Corolla out of second gear, not too bad. It's definitely no speed demon, but the shifts are pretty easy to make. It's definitely not a race car. It's not a hot hatch or anything, and it's not meant to be. 168 horsepower. Let me turn that off. I'm sorry, guys. Can't stay in my lane. But it's still a pretty fun car to drive around, and you can even get the rev matching, which is kind of cool. So I think Toyota was offering this manual not necessarily for you to have a ton of fun with it, but to make it at least available and something easy for people to use compared to some other manuals. And it's been a while since I've driven a manual. The old one I drove was an old Mini, and this is easier to drive than that. That one wasn't hard at all, but still, Toyota did a good job of offering a manual that can still be kind of fun, but good for people that aren't necessarily used to manual, and it lowers the price point, which is excellent. There was a little rev matching downshift into third and hustling around a corner a little more. It's not super stable, but for a Corolla, not bad at all. I've enjoyed my time with this thing, and 0 to 60 is just a tad over 8 seconds, which is not bad at all for this car. And then you get you can get the CVT that gives you 42 miles per gallon on the highway, up to that anyways. That's pretty awesome. This could be an excellent commuter car. And in my opinion, if you're gonna look at this or the Toyota CHR, I would probably go with this. One, the price is lower. You still get enough features in here. You've got an 8-inch screen. I've got heated seats in here, all the Toyota safety sense stuff. You can get blind spot monitoring and a manual transmission or a CVT transmission. To me, the CHR gives you more cargo space, but it's still not the most practical. I would probably go with this after reviewing that and this, not too far apart. The brakes on this car are also not too bad. They are a little bit softer than I was expecting for a car this light, but I've had no problems with them at all. Some quicker stops haven't been troublesome at all either. So overall, acceleration, not too bad for the power output that we get in here. Braking is solid. The steering is pretty good. Not meant to really be hustled, but it's not too bad. So in conclusion, like I said, I would take this over the CHR in my opinion. If the CHR had all-wheel drive, or this had all-wheel drive, I'd probably go with whichever one of those offered all-wheel drive, but neither of them do. If you're looking for something with more space, maybe a little more practical, the Civic is an excellent option. Something that's more driver focused, there's definitely different hatches for that. The Mazda 3 is pretty impressive. But overall, I think Toyota's done a good job of giving us a hatchback that's a little bit more fun than the traditional sedan Corolla, and I'm excited to see the new sedan of the Corolla and see how that turns out. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your comments down below. What do you think of this Corolla? Which trim level would you go for, and which hatch would you go for? Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Have a great day.